Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Little Art Studio podcast. My name is Ashlyn McKibben, and I'm going to be your host today. Today, I'm sitting with Quiana Major.
Hi.
I'm going to let her tell you guys a little bit about herself.
Okay. Singer-songwriter from Miami, Florida, more specifically a little town called Ghouls. I write my own music. That's what singer-songwriter means, and I perform it. I'm also a sound engineer and mixing engineer. And I love just telling the story for people and taking them on a journey with me from my, trials and tribulations and triumphs and, sharing it with them as much as I can.
And I noticed on your social media, I don't know too much about it, but I see that you are a co-founder of a nonprofit.
I am. I'm a chairperson of a nonprofit, yes.
And
Context of a Generation.
Tell us about that.
So it was originally started by me and my sister to help fund artists who didn't have money to go to intensives in college. And we were like, oh man, that was like the horrible thing. Like they were talented, they had the drive, they just didn't have the money. And they didn't know anything. And we also, at that time, we didn't know anything about grants. We didn't know anything about like applying for things that could help fund artists to go do what they want to do. We were just like, we were just going to like, fundraise for them, and we fundraised for them, and then we were like, this feels really good, we should keep doing this. And then we just wanted to have an opportunity for people who wanted to be artists, who are our age, and still make a living from it. We make sure whenever we do events, we pay everybody, and not just pay people, we pay them a fair wage, like a livable wage. And that's not something that a lot of venues or a lot of companies or a lot of even institutions do. They're like, you can need exposure, right? And we're like, no, we can't.
Yeah, I feel like that's such a crossover in every single creative realm. It seems like it's like, oh, well, you're going to meet a lot of people at this event, and that's going to be good for you. It's like, money is good for me, too.
Yeah, money's great for me.
Money pays my bills.
Pays my bills,
The connections, I don't know, maybe later on they will lead to something, but that's not always. I hate when that's like a thing that's promised at the beginning of something. And
it's the worst. Like, for me, it's just a slap in the face, because when you're a musician, and probably when you're a photographer, and you're like, I got 2, 3, 5, 6, 10 grand worth of equipment that I just brought to this, this event. And you're like, oh,
and
cool.
the knowledge to use that 10 grand worth of equipment too, because you can't just hand that to somebody else. And, like if you handed me anything of yours, I wouldn't know what to do with it. So,
same.
But yeah, no, I mean, that experience people need to realize is really important, and it needs to be paid for.
Absolutely.
How long have you been making music?
So I've always loved music, and like I've always had music in my head, and I always like wanted to do music professionally, but I didn't really start playing music professionally and writing music until like college. I was like 19, 20, maybe 21.
Okay. All right. And how old are you now, if I can ask?
29.
Okay.
Yep. Birthday just passed.
Nice. So it's been about a decade then.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you went to school for music?
I went to school for engineering.
Okay.
Mechanical engineering.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to know where that turned now into just professional music, or are you still doing the engineering?
I'm still doing engineering, but on a sound engineering side.
Okay.
I'm currently an audio engineer for the Art Center.
That's awesome.
And it's cool. I like it. It's fun. But, I also still have my main love of just performing the music that I've written and wrote.
That's nice that you've got the balance of the day job and the stability of the day job, and then you can still kind of freelance and be able to do, that as well. As a songwriter, have you written anything for other people, or do you just keep it kind of to yourself?
So I've had people like ask me to write music for them, and I try. It's just, for me, it's a lot easier to just write music from wherever it comes from inside of me, or whatever, frequency my brain is tuned to. And I would love to write music for other people. It's just I haven't been inspired for that moment yet. But yeah, I would do that. But honestly, I love writing music for myself, to play it for myself, from myself, and perform it myself.
Yeah. No, I like that. That's cool. And you're from a family of musicians.
Well, no, not really.
No?
No.
Because you have, well, your sister.
My sister, she's a dancer and a businesswoman.
Okay.
She was a choreographer in her younger years. Not that we're that old, but and my parents, they love music. They just, none of them played instruments. I was the only one who played like anything.
Okay.
And then I think you're talking about my brother-in-law.
Yes, yeah.
Frankie Midnight. Yes, he's an amazing musician.
And his wife too.
That's my sister.
That's your sister.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like trying to put all the connections together. I'm like, I saw you guys all performing, and I've seen Frankie perform, you know, 1,000 times. Yeah. But I'm like, I don't know. It was just so cute, everybody all together, and that's how I kind of.
We jammed together. We were in a band together actually, and my sister, she did poetry, and me and Frankie would jam behind her, and like it really is a family, like that small tight knit set of musicians who like to play with each other. And my sister.
I think that's super neat because I don't have anybody in my family really that's, you know, creative and, you know, that I can kind of share that with. Yeah. My uncle is into theater, but that's completely different. So I'm kind of jealous a little bit. Like I saw you guys all together. I was like, oh, that would be so nice to be able to do that.
It's fun. It's really like, it's a really amazing experience to be on a stage with people, especially people you can just trust. And like your mind just goes in the same area and distance, and you just know where the next person is going to be at. And I don't know, it's a weird, really like cool, like telepathic experience.
I was gonna say it's like literally sharing a brain or a language that everybody else isn't really filled in on.
It's the craziest thing. I think about it all the time. It's like there's no other feeling like it when you're on stage and you're not even in your body. Whatever's happening musically is just happening musically, and like the people around you are all in the same sphere musically, and like it's like you become like Power Rangers, you know? And you just kind of make like this big Zoid, right? And like you're all just one part of the same thing, and you're moving in the same area, and like the music is happening and it's going, and I was just never felt anything else like it.
Yeah. So we are currently in a recording studio space that you said you used to practice. Mm-hmm. I'm a little curious about your process from maybe like the writing stage to like the actual producing process to performing. Mm-hmm. How long does that usually take on something that you're working on?
So the ones that I really love to play, they like happen in a day.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's not what I was expecting you to say.
Like, once I get, like, a melody in my head, then the song just follows.
Yeah.
And then it's easier for me to write the music, and then the words come from, like, the musical space that's allowed. Uh-huh. And then, like, it's still an honest conversation. It's just directed by where the music is going and where it's coming from.
Okay. Wow. So, I guess I'm curious then the longest that you've spent on something.
Well, it's long. It to write songs is really easy for me. I love writing songs. Yeah. I can write a song super quickly, have it be like sounding great, nice and polished. However, producing and recording songs, oh God.
I'm curious about that process.
Part I know
for me nothing about that.
It's so like difficult because in my mind I'm like, okay, because when it's like the recording process, it's not like performing. You know, when you're performing, you have what you have, and then like that's it. Mm-hmm. But when you're recording, you have so many options, and that's where the part for me, like, oh, like man, I gotta not dumb it down, but I gotta give myself limited amount of things to do because I'm like, I want it to sound like this, I want it to sound like that, I want it to sound like that, I want that instrument there, I want, specifically this thing to happen at this moment. And then I'm just like, okay, I like that. I'm going to listen back to it. Mm-hmm. That's great. But now I want to add this.
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess you can really transform something completely in post than what it originally sounded like.
Absolutely.
So.
And I'm just like, but what if I added the banjo to it? And then like we do distortion and then like a bunch of reverb. Okay, take the original part of it out and just leave the wetness and then just like let that sit in the background. Like what kind of texture does that add to it?
Yeah.
And I have to on my side, I have to stop myself on when it sounds good and when it's enough.
Yeah. That's super interesting that you just said like texture and wetness. And I mean, I never have thought about audio in that way whatsoever.
You know, for me, like I can taste it. Like
Yeah.
when I listen to a great song and it has so many layers, like the Foo Fighters have a great amount of layers. Nirvana have a great amount of layers. Pearl Jam, amazing amount of layers to it. And like stuff that you don't really hear unless you're listening for it. Like, on a live, they have like a Rhodes piano on it. You don't, they don't really travel with a pianist or a keyboard player, but you hear it in the record, but you don't know you're hearing it, but it's there. And like, you don't really hear it. And like, you're like, yeah, that's,
unless you're looking for
like
it.
That's that spice in the soup that I was missing. And if it wasn't there, I'd be like, oh man, the soup tastes like shit.
Yeah.
And like for me, like I just love that stuff. Like in Stairway to Heaven, like when the band starts really getting into it, like there's the Fender Rhodes, like the extension part, like the bass part, and like they just hit like this huge massive like F, and like it just opens up the whole world into like the crazy part of the song, and I'm just like, yeah, that's what I want.
So what else do you play?
I feel like the only thing I can't play is a flute.
Okay. And we have a brilliant flute player in the room.
Yes. Every time I've tried to play a flute, I just like pass out.
Yeah. Well, how convenient that
I know
one of the best.
Exactly.
We're gonna have Matt Sonata on one of these episodes pretty soon. One of these days, if I can ever track him down. You're harder to track down than me. I feel like he gives me these very small windows of availability. But that's okay. We'll get you one day.
See.
But yeah, no, okay. So, damn, the only thing you can't play is the flute. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you've been doing this for 10 years and you can play basically everything.
As long as like I have a melody in my head and I'm like, okay, it's a string instrument. Okay, it's a woodwind instrument. Okay, it's percussion. You know, I can communicate what I want. Yeah. To like who I want it to play it. And like what I hear in my head.
Technically, you can just make everything yourself then.
Yeah, that's not, for me, that's not fun.
No.
Because like, I would say like I can play keyboard really well. Yeah. And like I'm a keyboard player. Yeah. But I'm like, and like I can play a trumpet or I can play a trombone, but I'm not a trombonist. Yeah. You know? I would rather have someone who study that and like who can communicate through that instrument well, play that instrument more than me. Because they can play it to the fullest, play it to its most honest potential. And I'd be like, oh, that's okay. But when someone else plays it, I'm like, yeah, that's fire.
And you get to hear everything kind of in real time while you're producing the song, too.
Yeah, exactly.
I know nothing about this, so I'm just kind of, digging around in your brain for a second.
I was like, I have an idea of where it wants to go, and, like, I have the key of where it wants to go. This is the time, this is a rhythm, and, like, this is what I want here. And then, like, that's how I would say it. That's what the song needs, and like I'm glad it came from you, and like I don't have the ego that it came from me.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of a similar thing with video editing where, you might just hand off your footage to someone else. You have no idea what you're going to get back, and it's completely different from how you expected it to be edited. But then, depending on the editor, it might come back like perfect, that you're like, that's exactly what I saw. Or it might come back where you're like, that is not what I wanted.
Yeah, that happens too, actually. Yeah. That has happened on occasions. And, for me, I'm always like, uplifting the community. So I'm like, hey, let's sit and have a talk about this. Yeah. That wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I like what you're doing. And then maybe, you come back, we'll do it again.
Right. Yeah. That's super nice, though. That's a good way to handle it.
Honesty. Yeah. It helps.
Can't like shit all over people for not being like your translation of something.
Like, I like what you're doing there. It's just not exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah. So tell me about your music, where people can listen to it.
So I have, on Spotify, I have 2 instrumental songs out, which is just me doing Fender Rhodes and contrabass, the big double bass. And And as far as like my pop rock records, alternative records, singer-songwriter stuff, I haven't released it yet. Mm-hmm. You can see me perform it.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping sometime around next year,
okay,
people can listen to it on, all streaming platforms.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, this is probably going to be out in a few months, so maybe we'll be closer to
sweet.
that. Yeah,
that's cool.
It'll take a little bit to get it out there. I've got some episodes sitting there, so
that's good.
It'll be a couple months, but no, yeah, I saw you perform at the Mango Sessions event. Mm-hmm. I also am not so familiar with that group. If you wanted to tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, Mango Sessions is a part of what Context of a Generation started during the pandemic, mm-hmm. because there was no work for performing artists at the time. So we decided to do an online performance space and, give people the opportunity to perform mm-hmm. in a safe environment,
right?
Because it was a closed studio. We only allowed in the members of the band or the performers, and we just recorded, I want to say like 70 like local musicians, mm-hmm. and from all different genres, pop, rock, reggae, hip hop, EDM, electroacoustic, symphonic. And we were just like heading it out, and we just like wanted to document the different types of like music in Miami, and not just the what people think is Miami music.
Right. No, it was super cool. I went to that event for the first time. I've heard of Mango Sessions. I see it pop up every now and then at a couple little venues that my friends are always performing at. But that was the first one I had been to a couple weeks ago, and it was awesome. Everybody was wildly talented.
I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, to me especially, I don't know anything about music, so me sitting there, I'm just like, damn, like every single person, I was just like, this is so different from the last person. It was mm-hmm. super, I don't know, it was very versatile. It was cool.
Yeah, there's so many different types of music in Miami. Like when you go and you see people perform, it's not just one type of music, which is awesome.
I feel like I'm seeing more and more like the past like 6 months even, I feel like I've seen more happening in the music community, which I'm really excited about.
We were all home for 3 years, and like we're ready to bust out of the gate.
Yeah, I can see it. I feel like I can literally see it happening right now, where everybody is like trying to be released.
All this energy is bundled up.
Yeah. So what do you feel, I guess, like, I'm curious about like environment wise, where do you like to perform the most here in Miami, or
where do I like to perform the most in Miami?
Yeah. Like, what's your favorite kind of space that you've performed in?
My favorite kind of space that I performed in,
or in general, I saw you just went to Maine and you were performing up there.
Yeah, I just like performing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter where. But I just love performing in front of people, seeing if they can, catch what I'm throwing down. I just love, I don't know, being in connecting in any environment, coffee shop, which is cool. I like to do a nice acoustic vibes. Mm-hmm. I love when I can bring my band out, and rock hard. I love stadium gigs. I love in between big venues, small venues, outdoor gigs. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, I'm there. You're allowing me to play my music for a numpteen amount of time. All right, cool. I'll be there.
Yeah, I like that though, because there's a lot of people who are very specific about like the places that they play and things like that. So it's good to hear, like, I don't know.
Man, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, it is. No, for sure it is. Like, some people don't like either like a smaller space or they don't like the coffee shop space. So I'm always kind of curious about it.
Well, I think because it for me, it's always a learning experience. Like, whatever crowd you interact with is always different.
Yeah.
And once you can get their attention, get their emotions, it's a win for the day. Mm-hmm. And like, because every crowd is different, you come back with an approach to a different audience at a different time later in the future. And I don't know, I'm like, okay, cool, I passed that test. Now it's time to go to the next one.
Yeah. You were talking about Maine being a very quiet.
It was super quiet.
I think of Miami and then I think of Maine. Like the audience difference in those two places. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm curious. Tell me about that experience of you being there.
It was a really great experience because I came in between, like, it was a Pride festival, so I had the honor of being introduced by like drag queens and then being followed by drag queens. So like the crowd was hyped pretty much just like the whole time, and I'm like, yes. Yeah. You don't really get, I don't really have the luxury of having people introduce me a lot, of having people like having that opportunity for people to hype up the crowd before I even get there. I'm like, cool, it's less work for me. Yeah. I get on stage and I play and I just keep them at a nice solid level. Right. That was really, really fun experience. Although it, like you said, it was a quiet city. I felt like I stepped into a Stephen King novel. Yeah. Actually, I was like, wow. Yeah. I only read about these places. I didn't think they were actually real. Yeah. Because like I come from Miami and like I wake up, the birds are singing, the cars are honking, people are arguing down the street. Yeah. I'm like, all right. I like this. This feels good. This feels like home. But as soon as like I like in Maine, there was no sound of wind, no birds. Like people said there were a bunch of moose. I'm like, I didn't see any moose. Yeah, I tried to explain to people that there's just like a constant level of audio in Miami, at all times, no matter where you are. Yeah, there's that noise threshold. Yeah. And then things get louder from there. Yeah. It's that bass of just everything, and then there's that on top of that. Oh, and then there's on top of that. Yeah. And then there's on top of that. But I noticed that, like at Savage Labs where I saw you, there's always so much noise in that space, at all times. To be honest, that place sounds great. Yeah. No. Everything sounds really amazing. The sound people there are great. But there's always people, talking, yell talking at each other. And, there's so much conversation. There's the bar. There's the food being brought out. There's always just, so much activity there. That I don't know how you guys focus on what you're doing, but I guess it's a completely different. Well, a lot of it helps with when you're in an audience, when you're looking at the audience, there's a lot of people. Yeah. So you're not really looking at anything. Yeah. You're looking at everything. Yeah. And then when you're looking at everything, you're just, for me, I'm just like, okay, cool. There's everyone, and then, okay, I gotta play. That's it. Yeah. I feel like I would be so overwhelmed by the amount of activity going on in the crowd, but I don't know. Maybe that's just it gets you in the zone. It does. It really does. And a lot of it took me a lot of time to learn this. My mom told me something. She's like, people want you to do well. Yeah. They're not just hoping you go up there and fall on your face. Right. They're all just sending you good energy, and you just give that energy right back. Yeah. Aw, that's true though. Yeah, I feel that's something I had to tell somebody recently. He was on stage and he messed up, and then he said he messed up, and I was like, don't admit to guilt or to fault, to nobody would know. Yeah. So I don't know. That's a cute way of thinking about it, though. I like that. My mom also told me about that. She's like, it's your original music. Nobody knows. No one knows what it sounds like. Yeah. If you mess up, just keep going. Yeah. And I'm like, thanks, Mom. That's why I get so much anxiety when I play covers. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, because everybody already knows what everyone it knows how it sounds. Yeah. They got a special way they want to hear it. Right. And you're like, okay, I'm doing this cover. But I think it's cool when people really change covers. Exactly. I like that way more. Exactly. I want to hear it sung, played completely different. As long as that, I don't know, as long as it's a little recognizable, that's great. But exactly. I don't want to hear the exact rendition of a song, ever. But see, that's how I do it. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I do an interpretation of it. Yeah. And because I can't just do it verbatim. I'm like, dang. I wish I could, but I can't. Yeah. But sometimes it ends up sounding cool, which is cool. No, I think it's way more of a skill to take something and completely transform it, in my opinion, as somebody who knows nothing about music. But I like it when people can kind of switch things up. It helps. When you play shows, do you play mostly originals, or do you kind of have a blend of covers and... I'd rather play mostly originals unless it's unless I'm 100% told. They're like, okay, you got to play some covers. I'll play some covers. Get the crowd unified. Yeah, and they're like, you got to play some covers. No, I still don't know the reason for it. I'm like,
I was gonna say,
like, it'll get them unified. They're like, yeah, but we want you to play covers. I'm like, all right.
They're like, we want everybody to hold hands and sing right now.
I could do that too. I got a bunch of Kumbaya songs.
Yeah. Do venues usually have like a list of requirements?
Yeah.
What is that?
I've had well, it definitely varies between venues, but I've had venues being like, okay, you can play all originals.
Okay.
Or you can play originals and covers. Or you can play all covers.
Okay.
Or you can play, like, split it up and do originals later in the night and then covers early in the afternoon as people are coming in and leaving for happy hour. But yeah, there's a few rules that happen, and sometimes those rules go on unspoken, and sometimes those rules are just completely not paid attention to by anybody.
Right.
Because I'm the one, like, especially if you tell me when I get there that they're like, okay, now we want you to play covers. I'm like, cool.
It's like not what I was planning.
Not what I was planning. I have covers.
Right.
I will play them. But, depending on how they tell me, I will play them.
Yeah.
Because a smart man told me once, he's like, get paid up front.
Yeah.
Once you get paid up front, nothing else matters.
Yeah, yeah. I keep hearing a lot of I guess like horror stories about payments in the music realm here.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys need like the deposits, the contracts. Like
It's not. It's I want to laugh about it, but I just get mad about it.
Yeah.
Because it's just a disrespect. We come, we bring all our knowledge, all our equipment. We do what we told you we were gonna do. We performed for a certain amount of time, and then they're like, okay, cool, we'll pay you.
Like when we feel like it.
Yep.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I have that issue with corporations and like larger companies. It's like
it's crazy.
I mean, it's like I'll shoot these little tiny things or whatever for people and they'll pay me up front before or whatever. But then I'll do like really big jobs for companies and it's like 4 months later I might get that check, and it's like I always get it, but it'll be, months later.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm like, not a fan.
What are we doing?
I'm not a fan of that because especially, well, I'm more so not a fan of it when it's not previously like discussed.
Yeah.
When someone tells me, okay, it's a quarterly check, you'll get your check in like 6 or 3 months. I'll be like, all right, I'll plan around it. But if someone tells me that after I've done everything, right. I was like, oh man, I was really counting on that money, and like it doesn't come through for a long time.
Yeah.
Now I gotta do extra stuff to do that.
It doesn't make sense to me either because I feel like for them, bookkeeping would just be so much easier if you did everything within like a couple weeks. Like your employees are getting paid every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like why wouldn't your contractors also be getting paid every 2 weeks?
I agree.
Or 30 days.
30 days.
30 days.
30 days is
solid.
That's doable.
Yeah,
that's
solid.
Doable.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like I wouldn't even know what the fuck I charged, or like, if it's 3-4 months ago, I wouldn't even. Yeah. I wouldn't have track of that.
They're probably not taking track.
Yeah.
They're like, oh wait, we had to pay someone. I can't remember who it was. Yeah, but it was somebody.
4 months ago, we had a musician.
Exactly.
And they have multiple people on the bill like every other night or something.
Exactly,
like, how do they? I don't know.
I don't know how they do that. Because for me, I'll give people a chance. I'll give venues a chance. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're going to come here. We're going to perform. And I'm like, okay, I haven't gotten paid yet. And then like, I'll reach out to them and be like, okay, hey, I haven't gotten paid yet. And if they like don't like reach back out at all and like I don't get paid, I put them on blast. Like I let everybody that I know.
I was gonna ask, do you blacklist people?
I was like, dude, like these people are like, we're coming here, we're doing a service to you, bringing all these people in, getting drinks, doing what it is that customers need to do to make you money. Yeah, and I know you're making money.
Oh yeah, venues make way more money when there's live music. Nobody can convince me otherwise.
And you're not gonna pay me.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll let all the other people that I know too.
And it's crazy too because musicians for venues to me is such an investment because that's free marketing. Yeah. Like And a lot of times I know like you and like Matt's band, like I know that you guys like promo the fuck out of, you know, your gigs and stuff. Like that's literally free marketing for them.
Yeah.
That's something that they would be investing in anyways.
Exactly.
Like a cost literally to pay somebody else to promo it.
Exactly.
I don't know. that shit gets me mad.
it fires me up. I'm just like, all right, I see you. I see you. I peep game.
Have you ever had to like tell a venue like, no, you're blacklisted, basically? Like,
well, I mean, I don't tell them
not
that.
like that,
I just
but like, no, I'm not going to perform
available.
here. Yeah. You're nice.
That's it. I'm just like, no, I'm not available.
Right.
I can't. I don't go into detail about it.
Yeah.
Like, I just let the people I know.
Like I'm permanently not available.
Don't work with them.
Yeah. Dang.
Certain places are like that, and I'm just like, nah, don't do it.
Yeah.
You're just gonna waste your time.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks for them because, I mean, when people are really, I think that this community is very plugged in.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of knows everybody. So
yeah. I'm sure, you know, whoever's watching this, they're probably like, I know exactly where you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Okay, it is what you think it is.
Yeah, definitely is.
Damn. That sucks. I hate that.
Yeah.
I am curious about, I know you mentioned that you're going to have your records on Spotify. You said that it's going to be about a year.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing the long haul because I took the time to, you know, get it studio recorded. Well, you know, it's so weird. It's like, it took like a few days to write the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, all the songs done.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, cool. Now we're going to go in, we're going to record it. Cool. Now I'm getting them produced. Cool. Now I need to get them mixed and mastered. And like I'm very specific on like who I want to do everything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got to find this person to get it to sound like this. And I want to find this person to get it to sound like this.
Right.
And like a lot of it, yes, it could be like technique, but like if I know people who have done this before and can do this again, I'm like, cool, I'll hire them. I don't care how long it takes for me to wait for them. I'll get them. And then after all that, you know, you have to go into the paperwork process. Like once you've made all the music, you recorded it, you've had it produced, you had it mixed, you had it mastered. Now you got to get it, you know, all the copyrights together. You got to get it listed with all the charts, and then you got to get it listed with all the awards. Then you got to get it listed and ready for marketing. And then, well, you know, that's after all the promo work you do to put into it, shooting the music video, the album art, getting ready to book the tour, and like not just like booking places to perform, but like booking interviews and like magazine spots and like stuff like that. Like, right. In my mind, I'm like, before I release any of this, all that's going to be already together.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Like getting the distributing together, and like, man, vinyl takes a long time.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, so I have to like do that at least 6 months in advance. And I'm just like, okay.
So you're going to put out actual vinyl records then?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm going to do vinyl, CDs, and probably like a few tapes.
Okay, cool. No, I love that.
It's extra. It's so extra.
No, not at all. I think it's really cool. That's something that I was talking about with one of the musicians I've had on the podcast. She was talking about like the process of getting her vinyl produced by somebody small and local, but like also the crazy process that was. Like the demand for vinyl is like at an all-time high right now. And, you know, the production is literally slower because there's so many people doing it. So I don't think it's extra at all. I think it's awesome. Like everybody should do it. Like it's collectible. It's tangible. You can have it. You can show it to people. You know, you can gift it to people. It's good.
I would say it's a lot of money up front.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand why people wouldn't want to do it for that reason. But the return you get back from it is even more than you put into it. Yeah, she said that it makes you, like, buying a vinyl from an artist is, you know, 100 times more than what you're going to make on streams and, absolutely. You know, anything like that. Don't get me started on streaming, man. No, get started on it. Because, like, so radio play is what I really want. Like, I want radio play. Like, I'm going to hit up all the... you know, the little secret sauce, the college radio stations. Like, when you go to college radio stations, like, that's a full $1. That I know that sounds like a little bit. That's a full $1 you're getting paid per spin, as compared to, like, 0.9 cents
right.
that you're getting paid from a streaming service, or even Spotify. Spotify pays like 0.5 cents per stream. And you're just like, how am I going to live off of that?
Right, yeah.
You can't, unless you're getting like 2 million streams a day. And like, are you that person that gets 2 million streams a day?
Right.
And like, I just want to be a modest artist, you know, maybe like, you know, 10,000, and I can have $100 in my pocket.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like even selling vinyls, it's like just a couple bucks by the time you take out the cost of producing them, you know? So at the end of the day, it's, you really need those tangible sales.
You really do. Like where you it's the Disney method, you know, the merchandising is where the money comes in.
Yeah.
You know, like hats, t-shirts.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to do like a bunch of Scullies. Like I'm going to go like, that's why it's going to take me so long. I'm like, man, I need all this prepared before I go out. And like, I'm like, man, I understand why people have labels.
Yeah. Well, when you said in a year and like everything is already recorded to me, I'm like, oh, that's a long time to sit and wait for a project to be released. And I would be antsy as fuck.
I'm very antsy. Every day I'm just like, no, I can't share it.
I was going to say, how do you keep yourself from doing that? Because for me, like as soon as I make something, I'm like, look,
I can't do it. Because like, you know, it's an investment. Yeah. You're like, man, I put so much time, so much money, you know, so much people have like their hopes and aspirations into something that we've made together, you know, and this is the product that I'm making for my audience. And like when I do give it to them, I want it to be, you know, the first thing that they've ever heard of it. Yeah. You know, this is for you. I made this specifically for you, and I took the time to make it for you. And like, here it is. Yeah. I like that though. I don't know. That's crazy. I would be so antsy. I am
crazy
I'm
about
like,
it.
Every day I'm like, okay, I made a reel. Maybe I should like put my song. No, I can't. Yeah. I'm like, no, you can't do
Even
that.
if you put maybe like that it's untitled or something, you can't like sneak it in.
I can't do that. I'm just like, no,
I would find ways to like Easter egg my shit everywhere. I would literally be like Taylor Swift about it. Like, oh yeah. Figuring out how to give people hints.
No, you know, like to people like that I want their feedback, I'm just like, okay, cool, you know, like, you know, we'll sit in the car together and we'll listen to it, and I'm like, you tell me what you think. Yeah. You know, or like if I'm in a room of people who want to hear something, I was like, okay, guys, I'm gonna put it on. Tell me what you think.
Yeah. Here's your NDA.
No, not even. See, I guess like a little curve around that. Like if other people share it.
Oh, there you go. It got leaked.
But no, I wouldn't do that either. But no, like I like sharing it with people, and like I want to share it with people. So I find people that I can share it with in a way that doesn't like completely spoil the surprise.
Mm-hmm. What is going to be kind of the style or genre, or like give us like a sneak peek of what we should expect?
What you should expect? If you like Alabama Shakes and John Mayer and David Bowie, you know, and a little Shine Down in there, it's definitely something that you're going to want to hear.
Cool. No, I like that. That's an interesting blend of artists.
Yeah. And, you know, here's an Easter egg, not an Easter egg, but here's a bonus. It comes from a Black woman. Yeah. That's not that common.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I remember I went and saw this little cover band in Orlando. I'd have to like
Orlando's
look it up.
A great scene.
Yeah, there's like a good little kind of punk alternative scene there. Yeah. That's where I grew up. So we would, you know, tell our moms that we were going to the movies, but then we would just go to like little punk shows. That's and really awesome. You know, like way too young to be in these spaces. But a couple years ago, we went up and they had like a little emo night kind of thing, but it was all bands covering other bands. Yeah. And there was like an all-girl band covering, I think that their list was like just The Story so far. Mm-hmm. And it was like, I think they were all queer women. Oh, cool. And the front woman is a black girl, and they were super young. And then literally a month later or something, they got signed to Fearless Records. Oh, that's awesome. And I was just like, what the fuck? This is so cool. Like, we love to see it. I'd have to look up their band name, but they were amazing. And I don't know, I like to see that integration a little bit more.
Yeah. It's really becoming an advent to the music as a whole, because I don't know, but like when I was growing up, it was very difficult to find Black artists that played rock music.
Yeah.
And like you really had to go like underground or, search in like all the weird chat rooms and be like, and like, go through all the racist bullshit and you're like, oh, cool, that's the name of the band.
Yeah. Yeah. It's stupid. It definitely, I wish it wasn't like that, I don't know, vibe of exclusivity, because it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah, but like, that's the reality that we live in, and like we have to. That's I had to just fight to get into that, and I was like, all right, cool, I'm in it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
Once I heard Rage Against the Machine, I was like, this is it.
Yeah,
this is it for me.
Yeah. No, and there's another one. I don't know if you've heard of them. They have swapped names, I think, 3 times, but I know them as Let Live. Then they went to the Fever 333 or whatever, and they are an amazing, like, punk kind of soul funk mixture of music.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, their frontman's a mixed man, and most of his musicians are Black.
That's
and
awesome.
It was like that was like something he was super adamant about it, and was just like, no, we have to like literally do better as this community, because there's no fucking reason that we're the only ones doing this, right? Yeah, do what you want. I mean, that's like something for women in general, Yeah. I mean, I had this conversation with another photographer, and it was like, when we were in high school and like beginning of college, we couldn't tell you like a professional photographer that was a woman, that was like kind of in our reach that we could speak to or talk to and have conversations with. So, times are changing though. So
times are changing.
Thank God.
Exactly. Thank God.
Yeah. Well, I loved this conversation with you. I know we don't know each other very well, but it was very nice to connect with you.
It was nice to meet you.
yeah, literally to like officially meet you. I feel like I've worked in some spaces with you like indirectly before, but this was super cool to sit down and kind of pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'll make sure to link all of your social media and your Spotify and everything as well, so people can check you out. And maybe we'll do this again sometime.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Well, this has been the Little Art Studio podcast with Quiana Major, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.